Hey everyone, good afternoon here. It is Coach Matt here doing the afternoon thought of the day, obviously from a remote location. There's a lot that I'm able to do, so that's wonderful. So, over this day, we've had lots of stuff going on, of course. Everybody does. But here's the thought. I was out with my private client this morning, and we were talking about when you're upset and when you're angry with someone. And what I try to do is separate the space between trigger and response. So in other words, something happens that, someone upsets you. There's the trigger. And then I like to take time to find the space before I plan my response. It comes up because we're talking about weight loss, like how, losing some weight. And a lot of the eating I find is emotional. So like, what's the trigger that caused you, and what's your response? Your response to overindulge in food, overindulge in alcohol, to lash out at someone. So it's always finding ways to recognize what your triggers are, and then to come up with a plan or course of action so you can lengthen that distance between trigger and response. And one of the things you want to do is gauging that response. What are you responding to? Are you responding to the person, to the situation, to the outcome? Because it changes everything, right? So if you think about it, if you're responding to an outcome, it's already happened. Right? So it's an outcome, already happened. If you're responding to a situation, is it a situation that you have control over? Or is it a situation that's beyond your control? And if you're responding to the person, have you sought to understand, or in other words, seek to understand, what was that person's perspective? What was that person going through that created them or that caused them to have this reaction that upset you? And you kind of want to take all that stuff into consideration before you have your response. So that thought of the day for you is trigger and response. What is it? What happens there? And to make it for running, you can also look at trigger and response in running. A trigger could be, there's somebody you want to pass, or there's the finish line, or there's a hill, there's a headwind, there's an obstacle. And then what is your response? Is your response to kind of like exhale, slow and controlled, take an adjustment of where you're at, and decide if you can make a move or if you have to sustain pace? Or is there a big distance you're like, I don't know if I can do it, and you contemplate, to consider, to evaluate, that person is faster, I can't do it. What happens? So this trigger and response is something you really start to think about in all areas of your life. So anyhow, that's the thought of the day. Hope your day goes really well, and I'll talk to you later on tonight for the personal side. Bye, everyone.